Everyone thinks they know Texas. Cheap living, sunny skies, cowboy culture. They don't. And if you're moving here, you need to hear the truth before you pack your bags. Because living in Texas is not what you think. I'm going to show you the real story, the good, the bad, and the things no one is telling you about. And you won't learn until you get here. And the first thing no one warns you about, it hits you right in your wallet. Dollar bills, y'all. They told you that Texas was affordable, right? It's not. I've seen families move here chasing lower costs only to get blindsided by $10,000 or more property tax bills and insurance premiums that could pay for a vacation home. Texas has no state income tax, but it ranks in the top 10 for the highest property taxes in the country. Your bill can go up every single year as your home value rises. Homeowners in hail and flood-prone areas are paying $6,000 to $15,000 a year for insurance, more than double the national average in most cases. And it's not just housing. Grocery prices for at-home purchases rose 2.4% year over year in June of this year. And overall, food prices increased by 3%. In Dallas-Fort Worth, prices dipped slightly overall, but staples like meat, poultry, and eggs are still on the rise. Electricity prices are unpredictable too. With a deregulated electricity market, many Texans are on variable rate plans, so heat waves or cold snaps can send your bill through the roof. So yes, there's no state income tax, but the costs don't disappear. They just show up in other places. Now let's talk about the lifestyle. This is where expectations really start to shift. Texas is marketed as big blue skies, big homes, big freedom. But if you're new here, get ready for a little cultural shock. Think Texas is just cowboy hats and country music. In some places, that's for sure. But in others, you might never see a horse at all. Just Teslas, taco trucks, and tech startups. Then there's pride, not the quiet kind, the kind that's on flags, shirts, license plates, and yes, even some classroom pledges. Football here, it's not just a sport, it's like a religion. Friday nights through Sunday are booked, whether you're in the stands at a high school game or watching the Cowboys on TV. And listen, if you root for another NFL team, just maybe don't bring that up at first at your neighborhood gatherings, unless you're ready for a friendly debate that lasts 3 hours. Texans are loyal to a fault. And don't mess with Texas. Sure, it started as an anti-littering campaign, but now it's a mantra. Independence, toughness, and just a hint of try me is always on the docket. Barbecue isn't just an identity. In Central Texas, it's dry rub brisket. In the East, you got saucy ribs. Along with the border, you got barbacoa. And yes, people will argue about this like it's politics. My take, let's eat. Okay, so you're ready to gather around the table and have some food, and you really have been considering moving here. You want to know a little bit more, you've got questions. Listen, book a call with me down below. You can click that link. We can talk about your possible move to Texas. Now on to the next point. Boots, it's not a costume. People wear them to work, to concerts, to the grocery store, pretty much everywhere. And there's a twist. Right alongside all of the tradition, Texas is home to some of the fastest growing cities in America. Those modern metros come with their own values, their own demands, and their own contradictions. That friction between old school Texas and 21st century expansion, it's what makes living here feel so complex and so hard to explain to outsiders. You didn't just move to a state, you moved to a completely different world. Texas is a patchwork of identities. And whichever one you land in, you'll quickly learn Texans might as well be their own nationality. You don't move to Texas, you move to a Texas. Houston has no formalized zoning laws, for example, so it's a patchwork. City with luxury high-rises can sit right next to a tire shop, a taco truck, or a megachurch. It's widely diverse with over 145 languages being spoken and has one of the highest international migration rates in the country. Economically, culturally, architecturally, it defies patterns. Austin is a different planet, okay? Progressive politics, fast-growing technology, yoga in the park, and a brunch scene that rivals LA. I know I hear y'all folks already from LA. Tell me about it in the comments. Dallas leans more polished and traditional. Expansive suburban developments, corporate headquarters, and perfectly manicured gated communities. It's about order, status, and classic Southern presentation. The border cities like El Paso, Laredo, Brownsville blend Texas and Mexico seamlessly. Tejano culture, bilingual schools, and cross-border commutes are daily life. In East Texas, you've got rural, religious, deeply conservative, piney forests, country churches, and small towns where Sunday service is still the heart of every week. These aren't subtle shifts, they're seismic, shaping everything from your daily routine to your sense of belonging. When someone in Austin says, for example, "I'm not from Texas, I'm from Austin," that's not a joke, it's a boundary. Because here, Texas can feel like 5 different states stitched together by name, or even more. There's one thing they all share though, a climate that can turn your life upside down and around overnight. They told you Texas has great weather. Full stop right there, okay? They forgot to mention it can also destroy your roof, your pipes, and sometimes your bank account. 100+ degree summers push the grid to its breaking point. Spiking bills. Winter freezes like the one in 21 leave millions or left millions without power or water. Tornadoes are in the north, hurricanes on the coast, dust storms in the west, hail in central Texas, cedar fever. Oh my goodness, the misery. You could be in flip-flops on a Monday and scraping ice off your windshield by Friday. It's not just hot, it's unpredictable. And while the weather can feel like the Wild Wild West, so can something else. Texans take pride in the idea of freedom, but freedom doesn't mean it always look like what you think. Texas sells this stuff, this freedom stuff, right? Fewer rules, not everywhere, more room to do your thing, and that part is real. You can buy land without wading through mountains of permits in a lot of areas. You can run a business from your garage without the city knocking at your door, depending on the business, of course. You can fully exercise your Second Amendment rights. And here in Texas, that's a big thing. So if you're not used to that, it can be a little shocking. And in many parts of the state, your neighbors will cheer you on for doing your thing, exactly what you want to do on your property. Now, if you're in an HOA community, that's a whole other story. But here's what people don't always see on those brochures or in the blogs. With fewer statewide rules, quality and services can also look very different depending on where you live. Your kid's school might have a robotics lab and a brand new stadium, or it might be struggling to keep enough teachers. And that's just the truth. Big cities have world-class hospitals, but in rural Texas, you might have to drive an hour or over an hour for basic healthcare. And when it comes to the roads, utilities, and public services, upgrades can take time or end up being something that the community has to fund themselves. So freedom, it's real, but so is the responsibility that comes with that and what you consider freedom to be. They say Texans are the friendliest people you'll ever meet. And in some places, that's very true. In others, you might never get past the small talk. And that's just real. Here's the breakdown. Small towns, they have deep bonds and slow acceptance. Big cities are diverse but disconnected. Austin, for example, is open but cautious to newcomers. And East Texas is traditional and rooted. On the border towns, there's a blended culture. West Texas, tight bonds born of necessity. One thing's for sure though, if you've got a good brisket recipe, you'll make friends a lot faster. Your experience really depends on who you land near as much as where you land. Texas has big size opportunity, but it's not guaranteed and it's not forever. Booming industries in tech, energy, and healthcare draw people in, while oil can rise and crash overnight. In competitive tech markets like Austin, you have a flood of people coming in with a ton of talent across the country, and competition and costs go up. Rural areas often depend on one singular industry, leaving them vulnerable to downturns. Texas can be your biggest career leap or your toughest reset. It's not all oil barons and tech millionaires. Plenty of people here are still grinding just to keep the lights on. So, is living in Texas what you thought? Let me know down in the comments. It's a state of extremes. 5 different cultural experiences, unpredictable weather, booming opportunities, and big challenges all stitched together under one flag. Your dream life might be here, but every choice has a trade-off. If you're thinking about moving here, watch my next video about the truth about why folks are leaving. You might be curious to find out why and how and where they're moving to. It's on the screen now. Hey, did you find this video helpful? Then hit that like button. And if you're feeling my vibe, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so that you don't miss a thing. And I'll see y'all on the next one.